Time to sound off, Husker Nation. This is your Real Red Reaction Show on Lincoln's KFOR. Call the show now at 402-489-1240.
Huskers handle it in Pasadena, a little tighter than you may have liked, but they get the victory 28-21 over UCLA. Good to have you in on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens on KFOR. Can dial us up. We'll patch you through the stream at 489-1240 or 800-825-5865. Enough defense. Nico is maddening to try and tackle. That 96-yard drive made it a little too close for comfort, but Nebraska responded. 4-minute offense. It was a big day for Emmett Johnson. But Elijah, Tim Bob, it was all about the quarterbacks. Both were the talking points all week. Both delivered. How about TJ Lateef? Calm as calm can be. And we thought comfort would be the key going home. And in front of 40 family members and friends, TJ was magnificent, man. Almost perfect throwing the football, had a couple of drops. But, man, he looked great. That mobility, a major factor, Elijah.
Yeah, TJ, I mean, I thought he was going to finish the night perfect. The screen pass a little bit off, and then a Dane Key drop were the two incompletions. He was fantastic. Lived up to expectations. I was saying pregame, I'll take 50% credit here because I said there was going to come a time late in the football game, Nebraska's either going to be down, tied, or up, and he was going to have to go put the team kind of shoulder the load, go lead a drive to go win the football game. He did that. I also said at some point tonight he was going to make a freshman mistake or two. I'll eat my crow. I was wrong. He was fantastic, damn near perfect. I do not remember any freshman mistakes from TJ Lateef at any point tonight. That is a credit to him. That's a credit to Dana. I think being right on that line of that conservative, aggressive line, I think he rode the right balance tonight for TJ, didn't put TJ into any positions that he wasn't going to be able to handle. And then also Emmett Johnson taking a big load off of TJ as well. I mean, I talked about the fact that TJ went and led a drive, 4 minutes left to go win that football game. He led the drive. Emmett Johnson was the star of the show, though, going and running that clock out all by himself, a couple of first downs on the drive. He was fantastic. I'm pleasantly surprised by what I saw from the offense, and I think that credit goes to Dana, a good game plan. Emmett Johnson running with his hair on fire all night long. He took a lot of pressure off the freshman quarterback, and hey, how about TJ Lateef being poised all night long, not making any freshman mistakes? He was as advertised as we've heard through the offseason of how good he could be. He even exceeded my expectations tonight. He was good.
We'll get some of your comments in the stream. Tim Bob, what'd you see, bud? I wasn't sure he'd finish the fight, brother, but he kept coming as well.
I mean, Lateef was great. He looked poised. I don't want to hear one of these guys call in and say, run the damn ball, because Emmett Johnson was a man. That offensive line gave him places to run. He got great vision. I don't want to hear anybody calling in and say, run the damn ball, because they ran the ball. Emmett took care of business. TJ looked great. What some great catches from the receivers. Made some tough catches in traffic, and hats off. The only thing I'd say was that, when they punted the ball and gave him the ball at the 4-yard line, the on-air announcer was like, well, that was a win. I was like, no, you called a conservative schedule thinking we can stop them. Well, thank God you had a two-score lead at that point, but we'll take it. It's a win on the road.
Nebraska now moves to 7-3, and you'll take it. A little bye week, a little ice tub time. Bill Doleman, proud of Fairbury with us. 489-1240. Comments also in the stream. Find us on YouTube with the Average Joe YouTube channel, Real Red Reaction, YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, KFOR, Facebook, Twitter, and the Average Joe Twitter handle, AJ Sports Radio. Bill, a little throwback. I mean, the pads were popping all night. It was not quite vintage Nebraska, but it was run game Nebraska with the passing game, the movement. I want to really kind of keep going here on Dana and TJ because what unison, right? They were both locked in, and you feel do you feel better moving forward? I think you should. It's one game, but tough assignment, hot ball club, and Latif didn't really blink.
I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I thought that I think that this is the kind of quarterback that Dana Holgorsen would like to coordinate an offense around. I don't mean that to be a knock against Nebraska's other quarterback, but I just that is the right kind of quarterback for the college game. I've talked about it all season long. You have to have a quarterback that can run and is willing to run. And, you go back to last year's playoff teams, they all have quarterbacks that at least have the threat to pick up a first down on 3rd down and 8 and can move the pocket. It's just the way the game is. And, the quarterbacks, the Peyton Manning mold where you don't got to run much, he's an anomaly, I just think that TJ Lateef is made for the college game and made for the kind of offense that Dana Holgorsen is most comfortable in calling. I think that's just the way it is. And I think Nebraska look, there's going to be 3 more games with him, and if he plays like he did tonight and Nebraska does what it's able to do tonight, there ought to be a quarterback controversy with whatever Nebraska is going to do in the spring, because you're going to see just about the same amount of work between the two quarterbacks, body of work. And again, throw out the Akron and Houston Christian games, but the same amount of body of work between Dylan Raiola and TJ Lateef, provided he continues to play like this, that ought to be up for grabs as to who the starting quarterback is, and not in name and salary only, because I think what he did tonight is what the college game needs and what Dana Holgorsen wants to use. I was impressed with him. I was impressed with Emmett Johnson. And look, a lot of different receivers were involved too. Dane Key made some big catches, got popped hard. Ja'Cory Barney was back, a focal point. Isaiah Hunter. The offense just seemed to be much more efficient and fine-tuned with what they wanted to do tonight.
Well, it was simple from Dana. I said he earned his paycheck this week. I tweeted about that. He did earn his paycheck, but it was simple. It's what it should have been all year long. Feed Emmett Johnson, use the play action to open things up for the quarterback. I thought TJ with his legs caused some issues for the defense.
Yes.
But Bill, I don't want to overreact and say there's a quarterback controversy because UCLA didn't have any film, but I am expecting a lot out of TJ these final 2 games. We'll see if he continues living up to expectations. If he continues playing like that, there will absolutely be a quarterback controversy.
There might not be, because one of them will be gone. In all likelihood, the phone's ringing right now. As much as nobody wants to talk about it, TJ Lateef auditioned for the rest of the country tonight. And since there are no rules in college football, I hope there's loyalty. He said, in his post-game interview, he said, I love everybody in red and white. And he said all the right things and was great. But in the world of college football that we're in, somebody's calling him right now. Somebody's calling his parents right now, or whoever handles his business. It's unfortunate, but TJ Lateef tonight put himself in a great position to be wanted, and now Nebraska is going to have to play that kind of game, unfortunately. But he was great. I think the offense was great. The offensive line on that, Evans and Spindler, the way they mugged guys up and down the sideline in Emmett Johnson's first touchdown catch. It just really, that's one of the best offensive performances of Matt Rhule's tenure at Nebraska.
To quickly put things in perspective here before we get to the phone lines where Rock's hanging out with us, having a problem where you have 2 quarterbacks that you're comfortable going out and starting and understanding one of them is going to go off to the portal, to put things in perspective, that is not a bad problem to have in college football. Whenever you have 2 guys press behind.
Okay. Which one do you want?
Oh, it's going to be...
Which one do you want?
If he
Brother,
keeps that play
don't
up,
even open that door.
If he keeps the
It has
play
to
up,
be.
it's going to be a super interesting offseason. But I need to see, hey, Penn State's going to have some film on him. Iowa's going to have even more film on him.
Sure.
There is going to be different types of defenses he's going to face down the stretch of this season. He's got 2 more games to continue auditioning. But if he keeps it up, it's going to be an interesting offseason. And to put things in perspective, though one guy would likely transfer, that's not a bad problem to have.
How many times did he get sacked tonight?
None.
Yeah.
Give a little credit to that offensive line. They played.
Hey, offensive line was great, and I think that also puts into perspective a little bit the offensive line. Hey, UCLA's pass rush is atrocious. We talked about that on the pregame show. So again, there's 2 more games to prove that, but it's a lot easier to block for a quarterback whenever they can get out of trouble in the pocket if you don't have a perfect rep up front.
That was absolute guts to go out there, not be nervous or shaken or try and do too much in front of your hometown and just run the offense, man. Hit the crossers, hit the slant, run the wheel route on the half roll right, and throw it to Emmett to open scoring in the third quarter. I think there's a little bit with Husker Nation that wanted that thing to be about a 42-14 thing versus a 28-21. But, hey, you'll take it. You got some stops. That 4th down stop we'll get into after the 3rd down false start was crucial for the Nebraska defense. Nebraska bent and broke a few times. Nico's just insane, and I know Nebraska did their best to try and corral him, but, man, they were grabbing it there. Rock, thanks for hanging tight. Welcome into Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Go for it.
A switch was flipped tonight. That was absolutely incredible. Just with that running threat of a quarterback, everything opened up. And then to see them close it out when I was really doubting and really getting frustrated and a little worried that we were going to blow it. He played like a junior or a senior, but it opened everything else up. It takes the heat off the offensive line. Emmett just chewing up yards. And by the way, everyone's saying, oh, well, NFL, maybe NIL guy can pony up and make sure that he stays and gets more money for another year with us. And as much as I respect Raiola, a 5-star that committed in Nebraska, showing the nation that that's cool to do, his work ethic and all that, I give him all of that. But that plotting penny and nickel offense was gone. It's gone. That's the best Nebraska offense I've seen in years. So, and even the defense, with all of its flaws, the defense, you can see it. It was feeding off the offense and making, some dominant plays, even with the plays that it did give up. They played with some confidence and aggressiveness and assertiveness. What a tremendous night and a tremendous victory. And let's never forget, we lost to that team last year.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. But what a night.
Rock, have a good one, brother. Pour one and enjoy. Appreciate you tuning in.
Don't mind
Real
if
Red
I do.
Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens, 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Cheney. Soon to be in Elijah's neck of the woods, 84th and Adams. Take more of your phone calls, your reaction. The Huskers notch win 7, 28-21. But, yeah, this is shifting, and Rock is right on. You did see a dynamic offense. You saw an offense that other teams do have around college football, Tim Bob, where, hey, the defense is on their heels because of the mobility factor.
Well, just the fact that he played so poised. You saw him roll out and throw the ball on time to receivers, take away and see his check marks. I mean, he had complete control of this offense. And again, I think, as you said, Dana earned his money this week. He built the offense around him. It looked good, and many have said in the feed, this is the best the offense has looked. And again, because of that threat. But I got to say, he does look like Millie Vanilli, right? I mean, I'm not the only one that sees that.
Millie Vanilli got busted.
You're with me. Come on now.
Got busted for lip syncing. There was
Right,
no
yeah, but
there was no false impersonation tonight.
no,
by
he
Latif.
was legit. That is for sure.
Cliff with us here on Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Cliff, go for it.
Hey, I just got one thing to say. Didn't Elijah pick UCLA tonight?
He might have, but we burnt that tape Nixon White House style.
Hey, when I
Right.
hey, I'm doing you a favor. When I pick against Nebraska, they play better than ever. It's their revenge game against me. So I'm gonna keep on doing it if they keep on winning.
Hey, I like it. Oh, what a game, huh? What a game.
What
Cliff.
do you think of TJ Lateef tonight?
I thought he looked good. And I knew he would. And I got a Dylan Raiola rookie card up here on my dresser, but I'm thinking TJ Lateef's the future.
Mm.
Nice.
You're not alone in Husker Nation tonight, Cliff.
Cliff.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys do a great job. I just had to throw that in your face, Elijah.
Hey, I'll eat my crow whenever I need to, and I've done it plenty tonight, and I'll continue doing it if Nebraska keeps playing like that.
Hey, I'm with you. I appreciate it.
Cliff, take care. Appreciate it. I think we need to be real about who gets the game ball tonight. Justice Rhodey, the first average Joe to go on the road and bring home a win.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did anybody notice? Yes, Elijah may have picked UCLA, but Chris did not go on the road. So,
yeah, there is that. There is that. A lot to get into. Emmett Johnson's performance, what he has been, of course, the Latif factor that's nice. Offensively, Dana was in. I don't know if you guys were locked into the app or you, like me and everybody else downtown, when they finally the longest freaking college basketball game in the history of preseason / non-conference affairs. Michigan State finally hit a couple free throws, and that thing ended. That 4 minutes left right before kickoff turned into 40. So, I look at the watch, I order a drink, and then 13 commercials run, and then bang, there's Barney in the end zone. Kind of reminded me old Scott Frost handing the ball to the official beginning of overtime against Missouri. But the opening drive, as I went back and looked at it, right out of the gate, he had a 16-yard gallop by Latif. That was a quarterback draw that Dana called. First play of the game. Then they hammered Emmett. They hammered Emmett again. They hit Hunter on a 16-yarder. I mean, there'll be defenses that will adjust, but these pass routes aren't crazy. They get the ball out. They're intermediate. They're accurate. And then you saw the home run shot too. Now it was a wheel route to Emmett, but it was still downfield. And then even Emmett's first touchdown catch, the screenplay was dialed up perfectly, and you had the big old convoy out front where you had Pritchett and Rocco murdering people on the sideline, and Emmett just kept on trucking. I mean, well dialed up by Dana. Great execution by the Frosh.
The early stat out there tonight that people are working to confirm on, but I just saw this on Twitter. It appears Emmett Johnson is the first Husker running back to have 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in the same football game. Is anyone else, off the top of your head, can you even think of another game like that?
I think Marlon Lucky broached it against Texas in 2007. That game, Nebraska had the old levee break in the fourth quarter where Cedric Benson went for 3 bills on him, not in the one quarter, but total. But he might have had 100 receiving. He might have had.
It was 44 receiving yards. I just looked it up.
Okay.
I'd say Roger Craig did it in the NFL all the time, which is why he should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's a sidebar.
Who else?
I can't think of anybody.
Brandon Jackson, maybe.
It would have had to have been in this century because Nebraska only threw the ball 15 times per game back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So some back. I don't know if Abdullah ever did it.
I was thinking of maybe.
But I can't think of anybody that that back that had 100 yards receiving.
You might get a little screen to a Brian Carpenter or a check down to Rathman. There's been some long screen plays to Nebraska running backs, but that's been their only catch of the season, let alone from a game standpoint. AZ Husker is with us here on Real Red Reaction. AZ, go for it, man.
Hey guys, how's it going? I started the day off with pictures from my cousins in South Sioux, snow on the ground. And then we go outside and start watching the game. So we spent the night watching the game outside, but we didn't get a fullback with a neck roll, did we?
We didn't, but there was some double tight heavy formations with a fullback in when they wanted to get that 3rd and 2.
We didn't get a single, no triple option tonight, though. That's frustrating.
No, we didn't. We didn't. But no, I just wanted to rub it in. We watched the game outside tonight and barbecued. So anyway, thanks for the call, guys, and have a great week.
You too. Yeah, 80 and perfect. Down in Arizona, you'll take it, and that's just another day that ends in Y for the good folks in Arizona. But no, you saw some determination. Dana declared it earlier this week. Hey, we're a run first team now. But that's okay, Bill. This offensive line's good at it. They've gotten comfortable with it. You're working with a lot of guys that have seen time, but weren't your starters to start the year. But they were just dominant. They were just ripping off chunk runs and just bludgeoning UCLA. UCLA was on the field a lot, and so was Nebraska's defense with couple of those drives, the 16 and the 17 play drive that Nebraska couldn't get off the field. But Nebraska only had 8 third down conversions. I should say attempts. That's how much they were just in rhythm running the football downhill. But I can't give thumbs up enough to the game plan, the execution, the trust, and everyone buying in to do a little extra. Everyone was on point tonight. We can talk a little bit about the defense. They've been problematic stopping the run. They've been bad at stopping the run. I don't know, fellas, that there's an answer
You are
out
what
there.
you are at this point.
I don't know that there's an answer out there for Nico. Teams have beaten him, sure. But that guy, we think about Emmett and how strong his back is. Nico is a guy that kept that team in it. They had a sack and a penalty on that 96-play drive, and they still ripped off 17, 24 yards. He is the epitome of dual threat. And his body language early, even that first drive where he had the 17 plays, 75 yards to answer and tie Nebraska up, he got the hell kicked out of him about 3 or 4 times. He got beat up tonight, and he still kept getting up. But his body language was saying, well, I'm thinking about an ice bath. So kudos to him.
Yeah, and he did what he was going to do. I do think Nebraska went a little conservative with him in the second half,
yes,
nursing a lead. You weren't going to bring extra pressure and they weren't going to give up the 70-yard.
Don't give up the big play.
They weren't going to do it. They were bringing 3 and 4, and he did a great job escaping. That's what he does. That was Nebraska's intent, I think. They would have rather Nico try to beat him death by 1,000 paper cuts with these little 5 and 6 and 10-yard runs as opposed to, hey, he breaks through the rush. Now there's 4 guys in the back end who are all getting blocked by receivers, and there goes Nico to the house. You weren't going to do that. I thought John Butler, rightfully so, got a little bit conservative in the second half. It's one of the reasons why UCLA had to burn so much time on that last 90-plus yard drive was because Nebraska wasn't going to let the big play beat them. It's what gives them an opportunity offensively to go ice that game because you get the ball back with just over 4 minutes on the clock. I got no problems with it. Nebraska, their run defense is what it is. They made some plays in the backfield. They did a decent job getting off the field after they made those plays. But, hey, they're going to give up yards on the ground. It's funny to say this. Only 150. That's the game.
Felt like a ton more, doesn't it?
Felt like a ton more. But whenever UCLA wins, they get over 200 yards on the ground. They didn't do that. That's a credit to the defense doing what they had to do, even understanding what your weakness is, which is stopping the run.
The mobile quarterback is a thing for Nebraska. Thing that was maddening, Bill, was I thought Nebraska's defensive line played physical. I thought they used their hands better today, but they would be chasing Nico and try and spin in and pursue from the backside, and then he'd dance out and there'd be open field, and here you go. And then it's a one-on-one, someone slips or misses, and then two more guys got to run him down after initial contact, and it's a gain of 20. So for the most part, I thought the pass rush discipline was okay, but there were some breakdowns. Nico's going to cause that. They sacked him 3 times. There were some TFLs as well. Nebraska didn't get hurt on the giant run, the 60-yarder, the 80-yarder, the 50-yarder. But for the most part, Nico's just going to do that to a lot of folks. We'll get to the calls here in a moment. Mike in from Cali, Game Dogs checked in. Brian in Carolina is here. Ed Foley sticking around here for Real Red Reaction. Duck is in. Captain, of course, Kobe. And more shout-outs coming as well as the Huskers handle it, get win number 7. Were you pacing? Did you wear your carpet out, NASCAR Erickson, as well? Or did you feel like Nebraska had this all along? Bill, did you ever have any glimmer of doubt creep in?
Not really. Once when they were, look, I'm tired of seeing these 96-yard, 10-plus minute drives. The one against Minnesota I thought might be an anomaly, but it seems like Nebraska's good to give up one of those monster 10-minute drives every game now. I'd like to see those come to an end, that you're not wearing out the defense so much that they get a touchdown and then pop a quick one because Nebraska goes 3 and out. I don't think Nebraska had a 3 and out at all tonight.
Opening drive.
Yeah, it's opening drive, right?
Nebraska had opening drive 3 and out?
No. Excuse me. The UCLA went 3 and out. Forgive me, but Nebraska didn't know. They at least ran 5 or 6 plays. Yeah,
right.
Sorry.
I'm talking about long drives and then a Nebraska 3 and out, and the defense is back out there again, and one touchdown. One long drive beat you twice and give up another touchdown. So not really. I thought Latif was in such command, and I thought Holgerson was comfortable in the plays that were being called. So I was really not that nervous. I'll be honest with you, right after the very first play of the game, when Latif went for 15 yards on the first play of the game, I thought, yeah, they know what they got, and this is going to be a lot different game plan than what we've seen over the course of the And then when he started getting comfortable throwing passes, the pass he made, and Fox ran the replay from the end zone. He was looking to the flat for the initial target. I think that was Emmett. He was covered, or maybe that was Barney. And he throws to the secondary guy, checks off, and throws to Hunter. And Hunter picked up a first down. It was just a brilliant play. And he showed poise. He didn't throw the ball. The only time I think he threw the ball really into coverage was on the touchdown pass to Barney.
Yeah.
Otherwise his passes were smart. So I was never really nervous that with Nebraska's offense on the field, it was more defense. And I guess Elijah is saying Nebraska's best defense was UCLA's offense holding on to the ball for 10 minutes at a time because they wasted their own clock. Mm-hmm. So I guess that was a brilliant game plan by John Butler. Let UCLA have the ball as much as possible because that way they can't score for many points.
Let's go to Chuck with us here on Real Red Reaction. Chuck with us. Then we'll get to Bob. Chuck, thanks for waiting. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, thanks, guys. Love the show. Got to give credit to the offensive line tonight. Man, they did an awesome job opening things up for Emmett, keeping TJ clean. But then he did his part too by, getting the ball out. If it wasn't there, he took off. He made smart throws. And overall, I think the offense was just simple. If it wasn't there, he didn't to throw it into coverage. I think some of the problem is with a 5-star quarterback phenom, they think they overcomplicate the offense. And tonight we saw a simple, efficient offense. And it'll be interesting to see what it looks like going forward these next 2 games.
Nailed it.
I'm going to disagree there. I think they're limited in what they can call. You got Dylan Raiola who cannot run. And as much as he might want to run, it's not going to be an effective run. You would not have called the same play to start the game if Dylan Raiola was starting. It was TJ Lateef, go run the ball, son. And he did. So I don't think that Nebraska's offense is this complex, necessarily all that complex with Dylan Raiola out there, because you are really one-dimensional. Well, maybe 2. Emmett Johnson and throw the ball. And assume that Dylan can make all the throws, but he does not throw downfield. So I think your playbook is much more simplified, because you just have him drop back, hope he can deliver the ball before the pocket collapses around him, because he's not going to move out of it. And then you have Emmett Johnson carrying the load throughout the first half. This playbook was far more open, because you have a quarterback that could run on his own or move the pocket if need be and throw adequately, as well as what we've seen the rest of the season. And I don't mean to throw dirt on Dylan Raiola. I really don't, because I think he's meant a lot to this program in elevating the profile and getting interest from other recruits around the country, and players are here because of him. But I think that the playbook was far more in line with what Dana Holgorsen wants to call and wants to use, because there are so many more options available to him, including the option if they want to run it.
Well, Bill, on one hand, it's more simple because the offense was, let's find a way to get the ball in the hands of our best player in as many ways as possible, which it's
totally Dana.
Simple, but it allows Dana to I think call what he wants to call offensively, as opposed to, well, is the best player EJ, is the best player Dylan? It's just simple. Hey, we're going to get the ball to Emmett Johnson in as many ways as possible, and we're going to get creative in order to get the ball into his hands. So it's both. It's different. I can see why it's on one hand simpler, but on the other hand more complex. It gives the defense more to worry about with the running threat, but the offense is simple at its heart. It's just, let's find a way to get the ball to Emmett.
Well, with a running quarterback, TJ puts that pressure on the defense, and you can truly run the RPO, the triple option. You can take that in, and because he will take it down and run with it. And Bill's right in that respect, that it's more complex, but only because you add that third dimension to the offense, right? If you only can run and throw, then defenses can adjust. If you've got to do all 3, you put that one player on an island, and it's a game of keep away. And TJ would look really comfortable, but I still have to, again, tip the hat. That offensive line came together and played probably one of the better games they've played. Again, UCLA's defensive line is not great. Their defense isn't great stopping the run, but when your opponent can't do that, you have to take advantage of it. My only, I guess, complaint would be in the fourth quarter when they had the 2-score lead and they 3rd and 11, 3rd and 13, whatever it was, and they ran the football. And that to me, I was like, that's playing a little scared, boys. Let the man play. Let him go play football. He's played well all night. He hadn't made a mistake. Now your coaching's getting a little bit worried. But again, I agree with most of what Bill said. But glad the young man came out and played like he could. I think last week Chris said something to the effect that when he went in there, Coach Darlington said, TJ, go play like you've been practicing. And he really didn't. This week he did. Obviously, the offense was built around him. They had a week to congel, and everybody stepped up. So great win for Nebraska. And, again, the biggest question is the defensive line can't stop the run. It is what it is. And I know great lady over there is ready for us to hang Butler, so give her a little props in the speed.
Big Red Junkies are our friends and an incredible podcast you should check out if you like Nebraska football and Husker coverage. They nail it here. The speed in which the ball gets out is huge, and that is spot on point. Tiger Shark says they looked good. Brian Snitley, part of the Boulder Peace Treaty, the quick slants, the crossing routes, refreshing. Bob is with us. Bob, sorry about the delay there, bud. Go for it. Thanks for calling.
Oh, that's fine. Bill, I agree 100% with you. I tell you what, the bottom line for me in this game, I've been a Huskers fan all my life, and I'll be 71 next February. And I'm just so pleased. Here we are at 7-2 now. And now you got Iowa and Penn State both lost their game with very little time on the clock. I love that. But Nebraska, even though it wasn't a perfect game, but I wonder who really does play a perfect game. They did enough to win. The quarterback came in there. Raiola was injured, and with Rhule signing the contract he did, I hope a lot of complaining Huskers fans now have their feet firmly planted in their mouths because they need to be there right now. I just think, this is the best Nebraska's been since, I used to always tell you about, I was this is the best team since, I can't think of his name now. He left to what the Youngstown State. You know what I'm talking about.
Bo. Yeah,
Pelini. Yeah, that's right. And people complained about him not being good enough. And now here we are at 7-2 in the regular season. And I'm just, frankly, I won't say thrilled, but I'm very pleased about this game. And it's going to get better, from here. Did I like everything that went on in the game? Of course not. But, hey, we got out of there with a win. And we live to fight another day. Now it's on, I think, to Penn State, isn't it?
Bye week and then Penn State. Bob, we appreciate you tuning in, brother. Thank you for the phone call, and keep on cheering, dude. You've seen a lot of Husker ball, and appreciate you listening in. Always thank you for your time and call, man.
Thank you, Bob.
489-1240 to get in here on Real Red Reaction. It's little KFOR, little Average Joe after dark with Real Red Reaction. Tim Bob is in. Bob was just on the line. Bill Doleman checking in. Proud of Fairbury, Elijah Herbel, Chris Schmidt. More of your comments in the stream. We'll try and snag, if possible, Matt Rhule postgame. Maybe not. Well, we should have it in a little bit, but back to the future here with decisions after the season. You've got a bye week. You feel good about your freshman quarterback. You've got Penn State looming on the road. You've got Iowa at home. But this was a great first impression by TJ Lateef. Nebraska will have the opportunity to pay to stay, right? And Latif didn't bat an eye when it came to recruiting time. He came in early, came in January, and knew that Raiola's here and knew that Raiola's here for a while. And he's like, let's bring on the competition. TJ's a guy that isn't afraid of the competition. So, you know what? You just need to make sure you pick the right guy moving forward. Right guy for your football team, right guy for your offense, right guy for what your high-level coordinator, at least it looked like that tonight, right, can do with what he wants to do on offense.
One thing I'll say is I think Rhule has been hesitant to make changes on some of the perceived quote-unquote favorites in the football team, but whenever guys have come in and performed, they don't leave the field. Look at Emmett Johnson at the end of last season. He came in, performed, You pay the money to keep him around at Nebraska because he did what he needed to go out and do. You look at Rex Guthrie coming and playing some serious snaps in defense this year. Marquise Buford is a guy that the entire defense respects. He's a favorite of Rhule's. The team loves him. He's a leader. But Rex Guthrie comes in and plays better than him. Hey, Rex Guthrie gets to keep that spot out there on the football field. It's been pretty standard with Rhule that whenever guys come in and perform, they get to keep their spot, despite what some favoritism says. I even go back to Jeff Sims back in year one, where Heinrich Haarberg comes in. Haarberg ran a limited offense, but you protected the football, and that's what you needed. And you stuck with Haarberg as opposed to the guy that you wouldn't pay big money to in the portal. As it stands through one game, and one game is not a big enough sample size, but through one game, I have been more impressed with TJ Lateef at quarterback than Dylan Raiola at quarterback. Now, Penn State's going to have a week of film. They're going to get ready for it. We'll see how Latif looks whenever he has a defense that is more ready for what he brings. Because I don't think UCLA was super prepared. They didn't have much film to look at. We'll see what Penn State looks like. We'll see what Iowa looks like. And you'll probably make your evaluation come the first week of December. But if he continues to play like that, it's going to be tough for this Husker coaching staff to keep him off the field.
The bigger problem, I think, is going to be for, talking about Penn State is they got some big boys. They're going to line up run the football.
Their personnel on defense is a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, they're going to run the ball right at Nebraska, too. The one thing about Penn State, though, their bowl game was today. Yeah. And to lose in the way that they lost that game in front of their last gasp of, fans that were
quite joyful.
Yeah, and then it just all got, kicked south of the border. What will their motivation be 2 weeks from today? Look, they may be able to play sky high and play for dear old PSU. I don't know, but we've all seen when the season starts to go south, especially with the high expectations that they had. I mean, people picked them to win the national championship. Certainly thought that they'd be in the Final Four or whatever football's for, and then to go through what they've gone through and to still have the uncertainty of a coaching search, and then to lose, the moment for a signature win on an awful season, the way that they did. What's the motivation? I shouldn't say motivation, but that might be a down team that if you get them down early, they may not be able to bounce back.
What's left in Penn State's tank?
Yeah, emotionally.
Yeah, for sure. Joe's on the horn. Go ahead, Elijah.
I am more prepared to talk about Penn State more next week. I'll just say they'll have more film on Latif, but I am leaving that. That's 2 weeks from now. I'm going to leave that out there. That's
you just go ahead and pick Penn State tonight, Elijah. Keep on the old win streak, brother.
You're welcome, Husker fans. Joe is on the line with us.
Joe, thanks for calling. Welcome into Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Go for it.
I really enjoy this. I have to ask Bill. I mean, I'm glad that the fade is gone. I'm hoping the fade pass within the red zone is gone forever. And tonight, I think Latif showed, if nothing else, when he threw the ball, he threw it to receivers where they could do something with it. Now it's UCLA, but they could do something with it. The kid had command, and he is a kid. But I think they got to turn it loose. I thought Dana pulled back a little bit in the second half. Yep. But I think going forward, with some experience and with some reps, the kid can do a lot of good. And then what happens if he wins the next two, or even one out of two? I think you got a controversy. And I have to ask Bill one last question. Bill, what the hell is it, Jeff? Come on.
It's a winner. It's a winner.
Thank you, Joe.
Joe, appreciate you. Thanks for the phone call. What's it,
Jeff? Whenever Nebraska went up 28-7, there's going to be a lot of arrows thrown John Butler's way this week because he went conservative. Joe is also right. Nebraska's offense went a little bit more conservative. Nebraska was avoiding the back-breaking play that would let UCLA get back into that football game, despite the fact that it was frustrating at times in the second half. And you were sitting there as a Husker fan like, man, I feel like UCLA is going to get back into this football game. It was the coordinators going conservative that gave Nebraska the opportunity to win this football game, because UCLA, they had to plod their way down the field. They had to burn time off the clock to get down the field. They didn't leave themselves enough time to go win that football game. They had a chance to go and tie, but they did not have enough time to win that football game because of how they had to play their offense. In Nebraska, offensively, despite the fact it was conservative and you didn't give Latif the opportunity to go make a big backbreaking mistake, you ran time off the clock. It ends in a win. It's frustrating, but Nebraska's coordinators called that game to get you to a win, no matter if it was a 3-point win, a 7-point win, or a 21-point win. They didn't care about the margin of victory. They cared about the win, and that's how I think they called that game in the second half.
Hey, can we acknowledge Funky Giblets?
Sure.
And anybody laugh every time the color guy tried to pronounce Iamaialava?
That's why we go with Nico.
Did you know?
Yeah.
It did sound like he kept trying to say lava lava. I'm a lava lava.
like the old lava soap.
There was a whole lot of trepidation going into the pronunciation. It just kind of came out as I'm a lava lava. Funky and I noticed that anyway. I was kind of amused by it.
Well, I get it right 1 out of 4 times, kind of like my putts. So I just stick with Nico, and I know I'm supposed to be a professional, but some professionals say you know when to.
Man's got to know
those limitations. Yeah,
man's got to know his limitations. Clint Eastwood, thank you very much.
Thank you, Clint. Yes, for sure. More of your comments coming up. We'll hear from Matt Rhule, and it's fun to read and hear from Nebraska fans the joy that's in their voice and at the tips of their fingertips when they type away here on the stream. You're catching us here on Real Red Reaction. Subscribe to the Average Joe YouTube channel and, of course, Real Red Reaction YouTube channel. Catch us as we're just digital tonight in the late hours. KFOR Facebook, KFOR Twitter, and the Average Joe Twitter handle, AJ Sports Radio. Who do we have?
We don't have anybody. Bob just wanted to call in and apologize. He said Nebraska was 7-2. He wanted to clarify and say he knew Nebraska was 7-3. He made the mistake. He wanted to point the thumb and not the finger and take credit for that. So thank you, Bob. Respect to you for taking credit.
We had Bob's back.
I told him if I had a nickel for every time I said something wrong or stupid on the radio, I would be a rich man. So love everyone still tuning in despite that.
Nope, all good. All good. We have more comments. We'll get up here. Flies, goodbyes. Game day. Great game. Latif looked really good. Emmett, such a beast. GBR, go ahead.
I just want to ask the question. Do you guys, after tonight's broadcast, have any idea how to pronounce Iamaialava? I think I heard it pronounced 15 different times in the broadcast. There may have been more Iamaialava pronunciations than TJ Lateef passing attempts.
Yeah, that's what Funky was pointing out, that there was lava.
I was taking photo. Iamala, I love you.
Yeah,
that was amusing. Look, Penn State will have tape on TJ Lateef now. I mentioned before the game that UCLA was probably watching his tape from Orange Lutheran High School and noticing that that's better competition than Houston Christian. But look, he's going to have 2 more weeks to prepare now as the starter. He knows what he's going to get. A ton of confidence out of this game. I'm sure if Penn State and UCLA played 5 times, 10 times this season, it'd probably be a wash. But he's got this game under his belt. Great night. Led Nebraska to a win. Nebraska now knows what he can do. His offensive line knows what he can do behind them. And they're going to prepare with him as the starter for 2 weeks. They're going to be able to have him more ready to go in 2 weeks at Penn State, regardless of what Penn State knows. I mean, I just think it's, very beneficial for Nebraska having the time off with him as the starter.
Well, this team needs some time to ice up. You've got a wounded roster. How about Guthrie? Looked like he was going to be done for a while. He rubbed some dirt on it, came back in. He was big. I thought Winery was nice. I loved Keona's effort. He was playing in front of a ton of friends and family as well. Judy, that poor guy, he was chasing a cheeseburger, wasn't he? Kept chasing and just couldn't. It would have ended really horribly for Nico if Judy would have got him. But I go back to that 4th and 2 that Nebraska played the quarterback run on, and there was about 3 or 4 Huskers there waiting for Nico, and that really kind of flipped things. You went and took the lead back following drive for Nebraska on offense, went up 14-7, and then grew it as you're up a couple of scores. At one point, you're up 28-7, man, and you felt like one more score, 3 or 7's your knockout shot, and then it's time to crack a Coors. But still got to pace and stress a little bit. Roscoe is with us here on Real Red Reaction. Roscoe, thanks for calling. Go for it.
Always happy to be here, fellas. Professor Doleman, I'm down the street right outside of King Supers, but I am concerned about Nebraska's ability to step on someone's throat. The number of times this year that we've had an issue where we're up 14, we're up 10, and we just cannot finish, tonight, the same problem. We're up 14 points heading into halftime. We took a timeout thinking that, we're going to get the ball back with 30 seconds left in the half, and we give up a 3rd and 11, and we just can't close the deal. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say on that. Love listening to you guys. My favorite thing to do is wake up on a Sunday morning. Obviously, being in the Denver area, I have to listen to you guys on delay, but love to hear what you guys have to say on the issue of closing the deal.
Roscoe, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for tuning us in and checking us out in Denver. That's
how good a name is Roscoe.
That's a good name.
Oh man,
it's a great name.
That's a linebacker's name.
Thank your parents.
I love that. This team's still learning. ... And they aren't overly talented in a lot of instances to just annihilate someone like we grew up watching and seeing a lot of times. So the door is open, and they have had moments to seize control of games. Now, that's just real quick. That seizing of the control doesn't always result in a loss. Now, they've won the games.
That's where I was going to go, Schmidt, is in those games where you have a chance to seize control and step on their throat, and you let the other team back in it. How many of those games has Nebraska lost this season?
They haven't.
You could argue maybe USC, but I think that more comes down to Dylan Raiola leaving the game and TJ Lateef being thrust into a position he was not ready for. I don't think that comes down to Nebraska not stepping on the throat. I think they could have had an opportunity to do that if Dylan stays in the football game. I guess we'll never know. But Nebraska's let some teams hang around this year. But the important thing is they have won all those football games. And that's what I was getting at earlier with Nebraska going conservative in the second half. Did you have a chance to go pull away in that football game? Yeah, I mean, hey, Nebraska, I think they were up 28-14, and they had a 3rd and 12, and what do they call a handoff up the middle that gets stuffed, and you punt it back to UCLA. That's the point I'm making. You went conservative, but you made UCLA drive the length of the field with a plodding offense that took way too much time off the clock. It's frustrating, but if Nebraska ends the night with the W, I cannot be too upset about it.
Tuck coming in with the answer. Corey Ross, 100 yards receiving and 131 rushing. That might have been against Missouri in 2004. Maybe it was against Colorado in 2005. Not sure the game, but that does that's the name that would make sense in the Callahan offense for sure.
It was not Missouri in 2004 because Nebraska only had 26 yards receiving that day. So it wasn't that one.
Okay.
Total. That's crazy.
They won.
They won convincingly. Let's check 2005 Nebraska, Colorado. That was
the infamous, we're going to kick the student section out of Folsom.
It was not that one. Corey Ross went for 129 yards through the air, but he only had 13 yards on the ground.
Okay.
Thanks. Iowa State 2005. Let's check that one.
Okay, that was an overtime game.
Hey, well, while you're looking that up and talking about notable performances in Husker history, let's just tip the cap to Rank Mast with the 4th triple-double in Nebraska basketball history today. So good on him and good on the Husker men's basketball team in knocking off Florida International in the latest installment of their rivalry. But good game today by Rank Mast.
It was Corey Ross against Iowa State went for 131 through the air, only 32 on the ground. So it wasn't that game either. I'm not sure it's happened.
Yep.
Maybe it did. Do we have timeouts or no? We just straight through on this thing.
No timeouts. We're stream only. So Tim
Okay.
Bob, I know it's getting late into the night for you.
It's late for me. I'm going to go to bed, but great win on the road. Love Emmett Johnson and his night and the offensive line. TJ's great. I will say one thing. I did watch that USC Northwestern game last night, and if Nebraska's defense shut down a pretty darn good quarterback against USC in terms of limiting him and the points they scored. So I know we're kind of bashing on Coach Butler a little bit in his defense, but he shut down some pretty good defenses. But hey, great win and go Big Red. Thanks.
Good stuff. Tim Bob, thank you, brother, for coming in. 489-1240 to get in here. Real Red Reaction powered by Slim Chickens, 14th and Pine Lake, 84th and Old Cheney, and soon to be 84th and Adams. I mean, I don't know how late the drive-thru's open, but I think dessert's in order. So I think some dessert is in order. Had a great night, man, with the parents' weekend down at the rail yard for the SIG-Up gathering. That's where the pregame was. That's where I was at for the pregame. Good folks at Gate 25 let me post up and do our thing. And a lot to talk about as we got into this, but felt good about what Nebraska could do. Felt good about what Latif would bring to the offense. I know Game Dog and Captain have been very vocal all season long. Specifically, a couple of loyal listeners about their thoughts on TJ and him being the option. And I just, right now, that is the option for Nebraska. But I mean, this could be pretty fascinating moving forward here with what you have and what you've had to replace due to injury at quarterback. And it's kind of been that elephant in the room, Bill and Elijah, with a great problem to have, but not a long-term problem to have one way or the other because of the portal and the world of college football.
Look, if they're going to solve the portal thing at all, and it's never going to happen, but they should go back to, if you leave, you got to sit out. Because the pollution that is the tampering, and I'm telling you, there are people calling Latif's people right now, and
better be 1890.
Well, let me just tell you this too. Look, go back to last year when the UNLV quarterback, after they got off to a good start, he calls it good after 3 games or whatever, 4 games, so he could preserve. I don't even know what happened to the guy. I thought he went back to Fordham or something, but I'll bet you there are people tonight calling TJ Lateef, who I believe has only played in 3 games this year, right?
That was his 4th.
Today was 4. Okay. Son, why don't you shut it down? Preserve your red shirt. We'll make it worth your while. Right? I mean, that could be happening because there are no rules against it. And if TJ Lateef, and I'm not saying this is his character at all, but there are players who might say, yeah, if you want me to stay, you got to pay me to stay. Otherwise, I'm not playing anymore, and I'm going to transfer. I'm going to preserve my freshman year. This will be my red shirt. That's going on in college football right now because there are no guardrails. There are no protection. They will not protect themselves from themselves. So Lateef is just maybe the prime example of that cancer in college football. And he could, if he's not a guy of character, I think he is. I think he's going to play this out with his team, but it's going to be enticing for him to say goodbye to Nebraska after this year. And somebody's going to give him money, whether he wants to leave or not. I think Nico wanted to stay at Tennessee, but they said, we want $4 million. Tennessee said, we ain't going to pay you that. He's making less than half of what he was making at Tennessee last year, and paying California taxes.
He's making about $1.5 million he took a monster pay cut,
and paying more taxes out there.
And he also went ski mask and gun allegedly right before the end of the regular season, before they went into the playoff. I mean, this was a major headache for Tennessee a year ago.
Right. But I think Eli Leva even publicly said, I wish I'd stayed. I mean, look, he looked really good tonight. And I don't know what his status is. I think he can go make himself draft eligible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, he'll go pro. I don't think he has any loyalties to dear old UCLA now. But that's the unfortunate thing about college football. And I would love to see the quarterback competition, and I would love for it to be open, and I would love for the best man to actually win and not be a political thing. If you go back to maybe Nebraska's most significant quarterback controversy was probably, when Tommy and Brooke were dueling, and Tommy was better. Tommy was the better runner. He was he could efficiently throw the ball. Brooke was probably a better thrower and could efficiently run, but the better man won that battle. But I do think it was legitimate competition for a while. But I think that if TJ plays the next 3 games like he played tonight, and you have an equal example, a sample size from what Dylan Raiola did in the first half of the season until his injury, and how Latif finishes it out. I don't think you would say, wow, Dylan Raiola was setting the world on fire. I think the best game he had this season was Cincinnati. He had some nice plays against Maryland that pulled the win out. But 25 sacks, and not all of them were on the offensive line. And the playbook is limited because he's not a runner. So I'm hoping that there is somewhat of a controversy to see where this program is in terms of who plays and why.
Again, it's good problems to have. Very, very good problems to have whenever you have 2 guys that you think can operate your offense and you're trying to pick the better between the 2. You just got to pick right, because in today's college football, if you have 2 guys that can operate the offense and only one can start, the other one's hitting the portal yesterday. So I don't think that happens pre-spring. I think if TJ can keep this up, which is still a big if, let it be known, we are talking 1 game in college football as a sample size. He still has 2 big tests ahead of him against Penn State and then one of the better defenses in the league in Iowa, where he's got to go out and play well. But if he can keep that level of play up, it's a good problem to have, to understand, hey, there's a good chance one of those 2 guys is going to be transferring. That is, hey, I'll save that problem for December or January or April, whatever it may be. There is nothing but good that can come of that, as long as you and your coaching staff can make the right decision and pick the right guy. That's what it comes down to.
Well, and to be honest with that decision, TJ's a guy that isn't going to blink about the competition. He needs to, and I think he'll be given a fair shot to win the job. I pray that that's a reality. And I think the fit right now is very real with what Dana, like full Dana, wants a guy who can move around in the pocket a little bit. I mean, we saw it looked like Dana's old offenses tonight. Not that you didn't have elements of some of it in the Raiola games, but you just had all sorts of problems with protection and getting the ball out. And the thing that was refreshing tonight was the poise, the protection. I don't know how many audibles were called, but you weren't behind the 8 ball from a mental standpoint, making the checks, all of those things. I mean, Latif's up to speed in that aspect. He's a competitor. He's mobile. He's tough. And he's got some ice water to go out into that situation. Now, I know that it was 90% red, but it's still a road game. I'm not going to sneeze at the performance at all. It was a great performance. It was a wonderful debut for him. And it was a great follow-up to a tough 4th quarter where you're trying to go win the ball game against SC. So think about the week he has had and how he's responded. They did a hell of a job scouting him and then winning the recruiting battle over Florida State, over Bama, and whoever else. I mean, he could have gone anywhere he wanted as an Elite 11 guy. But that mobility willingness is the difference, and it's the difference you need in this offense. You pair it with the running game right now. You hope that you'll have Emmett another year, probably not. And then you got to go find somebody to run the football for you. So, but this is what the offense needs to look like. This is the offense moving forward with the mobility option, and that's it. Plain and simple. It's one game. But it's a great look.
Yeah, it's a great look. You got two better defenses coming up in the final 2 games of the season. He's got to keep it up. He's got a bye week to continue to improve, to continue to get better, to continue to master this offense. It's the offense that he is operating tonight. It's 2 better defenses, 2 great tests coming up. I'm not ready to anoint TJ Lateef as next year's starter. I'm also not willing to say, hey, there's no chance he's going to take that starting job. It's going to be very, very interesting. Based on what I saw tonight, I think he can keep it up, but we'll find out. It's
let me ask you that. Let me ask you.
Controversy is it's good for Nebraska if that's what it ends up being, but he's got 2 bigger tests in front of him that he's got to go out and impress as well. Excuse me.
Okay, let me ask you that. And again, I don't mean to dismiss Dylan Raiola. I think he's been very good for Nebraska.
You don't get TJ without Dylan here.
What does he do better?
I think accuracy is a little bit better from Dylan Raiola.
Touch.
Okay. Certainly a far greater sample size.
Yeah.
No question about that. But I'm not going to say TJ Lateef is never going to get sacked, and he did not have a great defense against him tonight. But no 3-and-outs, no sacks tonight. Elusive, getting out of the pocket, throwing on the run, being able to pick up 5 to 15 yards when asked to run.
Stays on his feet.
I just what is it that Dylan does noticeably like, oh my God, that's you have to have that.
There's no rebuttal because it's very it's a very good few points. Can TJ do the same things that Dylan does and add some caveats as well that help your offense? The yes is the answer.
Okay, but Dylan Raiola is a more accurate passer. Lateef, in a very small sample size, let's say, is 75% the passer that Raiola is. TJ Lateef is a better and more mobile quarterback and a runner.
More elusive.
Okay. Dylan Raiola is not even close to 75% the runner. Not even 50%. Not even 25%. Right? This is what I'm getting at. Like, Raiola can throw the ball. No question about it. We don't know if he can throw downfield. We don't see that. Nebraska does not have a downfield passing game. And if they do, it's just once or twice just to air it out. But it's not really a part of the arsenal. But the running, the ability to run significantly better is more important to me in the college game.
No, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. You just wonder what what's the old NIL war chest like for a starter and for a backup. We think we know what the starter gets.
I just say I don't think anyone
you can't spend to keep both.
No, it's not about the spend. It's about quarterbacks want to go play. What school in America right now has 2 starting caliber quarterbacks on roster not named Ohio State? That's the reality. Yeah, I think
Texas did for a season last year.
And the drama that caused all season long with people calling for Arch to come in and play over Quinn Ewers, it's just not the reality of college football anymore. The one thing I will say, I look at tonight's game, I can confidently say, or pretty confidently say, you're not going to have both TJ Lateef and Dylan Raiola on roster next year. That being said, I'm not going to anoint TJ as next year's starter based on one game. I can draw observations, but not conclusions from one game. My observation, TJ Lateef is poised. TJ Lateef operated this offense very well. The threat of the legs stresses the defense in a different way that Nebraska hasn't shown anyone else this year, and UCLA could not stand up to that. I'll wait to see what happens against Penn State and what happens against Iowa before I draw conclusions from TJ Lateef's performance. But as it stands right now, I think the offense on a one-game sample size operated better with TJ Lateef at the helm tonight. And we're going to see where that goes. From Penn State and Iowa, we'll see. I have confidence that it's going to look, or I have a level of confidence that it's going to look good, but I want to wait and see what it actually looks like before I anoint him as the starter, before I anoint Raiola as the starter. But I will say with a level of confidence that you're going to have to pick right, because whoever doesn't win this job next year will likely be playing football somewhere else and probably starting somewhere else.
Someone in the stream touched on the fact there's no more spring portal window, is there?
There's only one portal window.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in January.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you can't leave at any time. I mean, anybody can leave whenever they want to leave. That's what
this will be our second
portal windows, but I can leave whenever I want to leave.
This will be our second Harrison Beck reference of the night.
Well, think back to the Mac Markway situation. Hey, you can leave Nebraska anytime and walk on somewhere else and pay for a year of schooling, and then you can be on scholarship. It's the Wild West. Where there's a rule, there's a loophole.
Yeah, but what does that mean that you have to walk on when there's no more? You just get an NIL deal. Yeah, that's okay. You got to walk on, but we found somebody to give you $100,000 a year job. You can only go into the transfer portal during this period of time, but after spring football and after the spring semester, I don't want to be here anymore. I can leave, and you can't stop me from leaving because I want to go to this school.
Where I'll go walk
because
on.
I want to further my education elsewhere.
Oh, and hey, they have a football program there that's going to let me walk on. How about that? And if I walk on, I'll get a nice NIL deal to go and be there. Where there's a rule, there's a loophole. It's as simple as that. It's the Wild West. You're not going to be able to get this in check, Bill, as you said, until you bring back. I think I like the one-time free transfer. Hey, you can transfer for free once. After that, I like if you change schools, you have to sit out for a year after your one free transfer. But I'm not a decision.
That way you can get your academics back in order.
and we've always needed, except for Elijah because he was 4-0 man, most of us have always needed to get our academics back in order at some point. Do we snag a little Rhule here?
It's ready to go whenever you are.
All right, let's do Matt Rhule, his post game.
Obviously, first of all, what a great football game. A lot of credit to them. I thought number 9 I thought Nico was fantastic and just an absolute warrior. That first drive we hit him so many times. I didn't know how long he could do that, and he just did it all night. Got a lot of respect for him. I have respect for Tim and what he's doing. But for us, to get our third, win on the road, to come off of how hard last week was. That's why I wanted my daughters to walk in. Last week as we were walking the press conference, Vivi was like, "I'm walking in there with you." So. I want her to see the good ones too. And I just can't speak enough to our guys. They're battered, they're beat up. It's been a long, hard season. We have a bunch of guys, back home, and yet they went out there and they competed. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good, And I encouraged them. I thought about all the, I saw the injury report tonight and all the guys that are out. Obviously Dylan's out, Gunner's out. Teddy's out. And you go all the way back to like Janirin and all those guys. Just how many guys have fought for us this year and how much we care about them. I encourage them all just to send a text to those guys. I mean, Dylan was texting me before the game, like, "Hey, I got my call sheet in front of me. Make sure we do this, and this." So just blessed to be a part of a team that has that type of character. And I just kept to praise TJ. I mean, that was just fantastic. And if you if you have any idea how we feel about him, I mean, at the end of the game on the line, we're throwing the football. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do that, but we're doing that. And it's because he's earned that. You know, it's not something I don't believe you give people confidence. They earn it and they deserve it. And he has practiced hard all season long and worked hard all season long. And on the flip side, some people won't probably know, but obviously McCullough was out tonight, and Dylan Rogers went in there. And Dylan's been waiting to start him for 3 years. And, just kind of an old school kid, like doesn't come in and complain, just works hard on specialty teams. Played 9 plays last week and did pretty well, and went out there and played the whole game tonight. So really good to see guys stepping up late in the season, developing, not trying to take the easy way out. And that was a great team win. And anytime, obviously our O-line, sometimes they bear the brunt of some things, to go out there with, I don't know how much time we had the clock ball left, like 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, whatever it was at the end, 5 minutes. But to be able to run the clock down and take a knee on someone else's field is really hard to do in the Big Ten. And so I thought Emmett was outstanding. Just really proud. So I'll answer your questions.
What was the week like for TJ, just getting him ready? What were the main things that you wanted to build around his strengths?
Obviously there were a couple of zone read type plays that were in the game plan, but not a ton. I think that where you saw that impact was the first play of the game was a zone read. So a team like UCLA that wants to come out and play man, and what people have been doing against us is playing a lot of man and pressuring. The quarterback, there's not a man for the quarterback typically, right? And so I thought early on when we did a couple of those plays, that forced them to play more quarters, and that we were able to just run the football. And it allowed us to, we knew that when we dropped back to throw it, there might be times where he did run. And but that would be a weapon. And so we didn't change anything really. I mean, we kind of took the plays we thought would work versus UCLA, and also that we think he does really well, and let him rip. And there wasn't a time where I thought he was not on time or trying to do too much. I mean, we kept calling play action passes, and he was checking to the run, and I mean, just something mature, really mature version of a young player.
You guys had that long break after your first touchdown, and they went on that really long drive. Some offenses or players that get those little, Raz waiting outside, but he didn't. Does that just speak to his maturity?
Yeah, and I think again, I think it does speak to his maturity, and I think it was the guy. Like if you're coming out of the locker room, we haven't scored a lot of touchdowns coming out of the break. I don't know, you guys would know better than me when last time. Maybe we've done that before. We had a kickoff return, but I mean, coming out on offense and driving the field, and man, like I walked out with those guys, and Isaiah and Jacory were screaming like, "We get to play offense. We get another drive." They were just excited to play, and so. Even starting the game off with that 3rd and 1 where he pulls the ball, Jacory makes an amazing catch. I mean, I just think everyone was kind of ready to do their part. Our whole message this week was to be great teammates and not saying you care for somebody. Everyone can say they care for someone, but doing a little extra. And I thought the guys all did a little extra, and that allowed TJ just to go out there and play.
What can you say about Emmett? I think it's 232 yards of offense at the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was great. He's been consistently great. Even the foresight he had on the second to last run to get down. We'd like to get the first down, but he didn't want to get knocked out of bounds. And so it's just, I mean, he's literally calling out the situation before I can even do it. I mean, he's just so mature. And the screen, just a great block by Isaiah. 2 great, maybe Rocco and maybe Henry or Justin. I can't remember who. It was Justin sprinting down the field. And then the throwback post was a great call by Dana. They had designed it, this week and worked it all week. It was something new that, we felt good about. And, he made the throw. And so, but Emmett's just an absolute weapon, I mean, I think he's, I see all the scouts coming in now, starting to body type. I mean, he's a pro. And it's just, I'm always going to use these opportunities to talk about things that I think help us in recruiting and all that. But like, you take guys who they don't have the success they want maybe early, and they just stick to it. It's just such a great message. So now, like if I'm a freshman or sophomore, man, I want more touches. I want more things. Just do what Emmett did. Like just keep getting better and better and better when your time comes. And Dylan Rogers is a great example. Just keep to do it that he did. And so I just really proud of those guys, and I'm really proud of Emmett.
How does that just little extra bit of mobility that TJ brings, did that open up what Dane is able to do?
Like I said, we call the same plays. It's just a matter of there were a couple times where we took it. Like we called a play action pass shot early on, and they split the thing, and he ran for yards. I just on the flip side, I mean, literally, we're in the huddle, and we're like, their whole offense is the quarterback running. I mean, like we were doubling people and bracketing people and playing great coverage, and we got a couple sacks, and we had a couple more that we had them in our hands. But just college football, the quarterback who could pull it down and run makes it really difficult, as long as they can also throw it. And I think that's the one thing with TJ. All week I just kept saying to him, hey, like 3 weapons, man, 3 weapons. You're not a dual threat player, you're a triple threat player. You've got an arm, you've got feet, and you've got a brain. And I think that's really important. It's like you don't want to just go out there and run around and create havoc. I mean, he made the right checks, the right plays. He was really professional. Glenn did a great job. Not just this week. You can't get a guy ready this week. It's the whole season, right? And it's really, Dylan's mentoring the whole season. What Dylan's done for TJ and just, embracing him and bringing him in the fold, I think has allowed TJ and pushed TJ to this point where, he was more than ready for that moment.
Have you already heard from Dylan?
I haven't even checked my phone yet, but I was hearing from him before the game. And, I shot him a text at halftime. So I was like, hey, what's next? But I know how excited he will be. And I know the guys asked me, hey, can we grab a ball and bring it back for him? So, we love Dylan, we love TJ, we love all the guys, and they're all excited to see them all play well.
How big was the middle 8? You guys obviously were able to control the second quarter at the end and come out and get 7. That felt like kind of the tipping point of the game when you got 14 points in those moments.
Yeah, that was really crucial. And, obviously they had that drive going where, we had them backed up and they had that drive going to get us to get down into, field goal range. And so, that was, but we were able to stop it. So that was great. We believe in middle 8. We believe in a fourth quarter shutout. And we just can't quite get the fourth quarter shutout the way we want to. How good. And so, like I said, we're like some of the streets in Lincoln, we're under construction, right? We're still building them, right? But it's a fun process to be a part of. And I'll just say it again, not many teams would have bounced back the way they did because they put their heart and soul into that game last week, right? And it speaks to them. I'd love to take credit for it, but I mean, some of them like Sierra walked off the field with me on Wednesday. And he was bringing me back, right? But that's the whole point about being part of a team. We all bring each other back, and then you get to see the guys have those great moments at the end. It's really fun.
One more. It was an attendance record, or attendance high, I should say, for UCLA this year. Obviously, a lot of fans. It doesn't surprise me, I know, but how big of a factor? No,
it still surprises me. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's just. It's so impressive. It's so amazing. I think I told you guys, this is like Julie. This is the most tickets we had to get this week. I mean, I think a lot of our friends out here and people coming out here and plan to be here. But it's just so great knowing that when you go on the road, that you're going to have just such a great crowd like that, and just even the Go Big Red chants at the end and all that. And pretty cool to be coaching in the Rose Bowl and be playing in the Rose Bowl and have that fan base and all those things. So, one of the commentators joked with me before the game. He's like, I bet you all the bowl reps are taking notice, and so, but it's just the power of what Husker Nation is. And we also know what they want, and we're working towards it. He just couldn't go. Yeah. He's been having some stingers and just battled all week. Just couldn't go. So we left him home and said, Dylan, it's your show. And I bet you when I watch the tape on the plane home, it'll be pretty good. So you guys will spend the night here tonight. Enjoy. I'll get home at 6. Thank you.
It's Matt Rhule, his post game. Happy mood for the head man and under construction. Good work. Way to bring in the old construction element of LNK, baby. But selfishly, I'm a happy guy that Highway 2 and of course Normal Boulevard's open for my trek in up to KFOR. But guys, Rhule said a couple of things in that post game. Dylan Rogers, a guy that showed up and had to go into McCullough duty. Good on him. Also, the running element part that Rhule highlighted with the arm, the brain, the feet, what it does for this offense and offenses in college football. We've highlighted and underlined quite a bit. And then quite a few mentions of course, the communication with Dylan. We're not forgetting about your son, Bill.
I missed that.
Yeah, he said that he shot Dylan a text at halftime saying,
What's next?
It's kind of like encouraging him, like, hey, despite the fact that TJ's coming in here balling out, you can still come back better than ever. That says a lot. Can I say that? There's a lot in that right there. If you are taking the time, if your backup comes in and plays well enough that you have to text your starter and be like, hey, we haven't forgotten about you, that says a lot about the
Damn, he looks good, doesn't he?
I was a little busy during the break tapping into the Woodford. So yeah, I had other things, but yeah, that's I hope you weren't watching the first half.
Yeah.
Hope you didn't see the very first play of the. Hope you were one of those watching on Fox while the Michigan State Arkansas game was ending. Meanwhile, everybody else was watching on FS2. Hope you didn't see that first play, but.
What'd you think of Dylan's acceleration, or I should say, TJ's acceleration on 1st and 10?
Yeah.
It's funny. Maryland ran the same damn thing. They had a 75-yard run with their quarterback, that freshman. That's how they jumped on the board first against Rutgers.
That was Malik Washington, yeah.
So. Yeah, Malik, yeah. Because, again, I'm stuck with, like everybody else on YouTube TV, I get my Big 10 and my Big 12 that are not on the mouse.
Hey, we don't need the damn SEC anyway. Overrated, overhyped. SEC media bias. Don't need it. The Big Ten's got all the entertainment I need.
Do you know what? I mean, you had great games today. You had amazing games in the Big Ten today.
Who needs the SEC?
And you can always get Oregon State on the CW late at night. I just saw them lose to Sam Houston State. So the Beavers are now 2-8 on the year, and Sam Houston got its first win. But damn it, it's football late at night. So you got to watch. I'm trying to find a Hawaii game.
Guys, I do know that
football on.
I'm sure.
No.
I do want to. We spent a lot of time here in the postgame show talking about TJ Lateef, rightfully so. Guy played well enough to deserve a lot of talk here. We do need to go back to the defense. They were able to overcome a poor rush defense tonight. What's your guys' level of concern looking at Penn State and looking at Iowa down the stretch here? And I know that still feels a long ways off because we got a bye week to make it through first. But what's the level? I think we know there's going to need to be some tearing up of the carpets, laying down some new carpets, just a general renovation of that front seven this offseason via the transfer portal. What are you guys' thoughts on how they played tonight and what that means for Nebraska moving forward?
They're in trouble. I mean, if they don't jump out to a lead, their pass defense is so good that it can stymie most offenses despite not a great pass rush. That's how good their back end is. But Elijah, I mean, Penn State has I think he's a redshirt freshman at quarterback who's getting more comfortable. Okay. But Penn State's problem all year, why James Franklin's counting his money, is they refuse to go 1-2 punch with their running game and that offensive line. I mean, they had Aller as their leading rusher or leading ball carrier because they want to run RPOs to death. And that isn't what he is. So they're going to hand it off and they're going to 1-2 punch it. And it's going to be a situation of you're going to have limited possessions or a worn down defensive front. Iowa's quarterback, I can't believe how, I mean, I shouldn't be shocked that they found a way to take the lead and then they got beat at the buzzer. But that guy can't throw. And it doesn't matter. They still had the lead on the number 2 team in the Big Ten or number 3 team in the Big Ten with 90 seconds left. So if teams don't get air quote exotic and just want to line up and run it Barry Switzer style, Nebraska won't have an answer. You won't score all the time on them. And this game plan of taking body blows, but getting a stop or two being the difference, I guess they can survive it, but they won't be able to survive another season with it.
Yeah, that's where they're going to have to open up the book, is the running back and defensive line. I know they'll probably want to say they want to get an offensive lineman, but Nebraska has got to be the overspender of defensive linemen in the portal season. That to me is the most significant thing, Because right now the game plan is just run it right at them. And if you got a mobile quarterback, which I don't think Penn State necessarily does, and the dude at Iowa is,
very mobile,
far better runner than he is a thrower, which makes him dangerous against Nebraska, for Nebraska's defense. But those teams are going to go do what I've said all season, what Michigan did, what USC did. And that is just lean on Nebraska to where the point of contact is 4 yards down the field. And eventually you have a big gash in the line and somebody gets 13 or 30. That's what those two teams are both going to do. Nebraska cannot have those 96-yard, 10-minute drives. It's what killed them at Minnesota. It killed the momentum tonight, but Nebraska was able to overcome that. But if Penn State and Iowa go on those monster drives, Nebraska's not going to win those games. So
you come down to turnovers and getting a stop. I mean, it's going to be razor thin margin.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but Nebraska did show tonight they can overcome. They're not going to stop a team's rushing attack. They can overcome it, and you wonder how different things are last week if there's no injury to Raiola, or if they have a better game plan in place for Latif. But they were on their way towards, I think, overcoming that last week against USC. If you can find a way to overcome 150 to 175 yards against you on the ground, you can give up that many yards if you can get off the field whenever you do get them a little bit behind the sticks, or if you take advantage and make your possessions offensively count. Nebraska did tonight. There's 2 more games in front of them where I think it's going to be harder to do that in each of those games incrementally, but that's what it's going to come down to for Nebraska. Your run defense is what it is. It's not great. You got to find a way to overcome, and they did that tonight.
That'll wind us down for Real Red Reaction, powered by Slim Chickens. Bill's got the Woodford poured. Find your way to Slim Chickens, 14th in Pine Lake, 84th at Old Cheney. And make sure you find the new location, 84th and Adams, when that opens up. We've got plenty more to hit on this tomorrow. The Iron Horse, Gary Sharp, going to be with us for the Sunday live edition of the Average Joe Sports Show at 10:30.
But before we get out, I do have to ask the question. We end every postgame show with this. What is the word or couple of words you would use to describe the performance tonight by Nebraska?
Poised.
Ooh, that's a good one.
They responded to last week. Rhule touched on that in his post game. That was a tank drainer. I mean, that's a game that beat you twice, a lot of times, and you know it. And they went in early and often, getting the team prepped up and ready. But your quarterback was poised. Your offensive coordinator was poised. Singleton, to Game Dog's take, was poised. You had that side of the football really meet the challenge offensively. And Emmett Johnson, always poised. He was poised for UCLA. So poised is my word.
I'm going to go with comfortable. Probably very similar to what Schmidt is saying, but I think that Nebraska was very comfortable with TJ Lateef as the starting quarterback, and maybe more so than other times this season that they have felt that kind of comfort, because the mobility that he provides that helps the offensive line, that a time or two with a timely run takes a little bit of pressure off of Emmett Johnson, even though he had more than 30 touches again. But I think the team was comfortable with him as the quarterback. He was comfortable playing back home. He said twice in his postgame interview, I've never played in the Rose Bowl, and I never played in the Rose Bowl. So clearly that was a pretty cool moment for him. I'm sure he had a lot of people there. Husker fans made it comfortable for Nebraska out there in Pasadena. How pathetic is it to see that stadium, as majestic as it is, and as UCLA? I know it's nowhere near Westwood, so it's not like students walking across campus to go to the game like they do here in Lincoln. But still, that's a majestic facility. And to see empty seats draped or opened up because the visiting team needed extra seats. So Nebraska was comfortable. They weren't not comfortable with Lama or whatever Devin Gardner called him, but they were comfortable tonight with TJ Lateef and Dana Holgerson, comfortable with his playbook in his hands. And Nebraska's got 7 wins and hopefully gets another one. So we're not going to Detroit in January or December.
My word is just execution. Pretty simple. Nebraska went out and executed the game plan. I thought you had a coordinator that offensively called what the game plan was. That's execution from a coordinator's point of view offensively. Defensively, they got a little conservative, but I think you went out there and did what you had to do defensively. You had a quarterback that went out there, did not try to do too much, executed the plays that were put in front of them. You had an offensive line that knew it was going to be a run-heavy game. They went out and put a hat on a hat and executed most of their rushing plays, gave Emmett Johnson lanes to run through. Just all around, all 3 phases. Aside from the one fake punt, which you actually played pretty well, and they snuck it by a quarter of a yard. Like, I thought it was just in all 3 phases, offense, defense, coaching staff, everyone, execution. The team executed, and that's what led to the win. You got 2 more chances to go and do just that. You're going to have to continue doing it, but that's my word for the night.
Husker fans are feeling good. They're feeling optimistic. Last Saturday hurt. This Saturday feels much better, and you did it in conditions on the road, sort of, with a true freshman that came in, balled out, didn't turn the football over, looked like he belonged, looked like he'd been playing all year. So good on him. Good on Slim Chickens for powering Real Red Reaction. Good on you for all the phone calls and all of you in the stream. And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 10:30. Always like and subscribe. Find and follow and tune us in on KFOR Lincoln, the Average Joe YouTube channel, the Real Red Reaction YouTube channel. Find our platforms as well with KFOR Facebook and Twitter at KFOR Radio. And find and follow as well on Twitter, AJ Sports Radio, AJ Sports Pod at Herbal Essence for Elijah, at Schmidt _radio for me. Proud of Fairbury at Bill Doleman. We will talk to you tomorrow, Sunday Live, Average Joe at 10:30. Have a good one. Take care. And Big Red now 7-3.
Guys, bars close in 45 minutes. I'll see you.